everybody. I'm Aphrodite Rose Starfire. Welcome to my channel. So this is a live stream. So if you're watching this after the fact, please fast forward to when we get started. Hi, please let me know if you can hear me. Hi, another phase. Can you hear me? Please let me know if... Hola, John. Hi, Lilith. Woo! Yay, we got it going. So, welcome to my channel. I'm Aphrodite Rose Starfire. It's been a little bit. Hi, Cody. Blood over in 10 fam. What's up? Hi, James and other stuff. Woo! Thanks for joining me. So I have so many things I want to talk about and ideas for videos. Oh, now there's only 2 people. Oh, now 1 person? Am I still, am I like choppy or buffering or anything? Please let me know if, but I feel like there's more people here. All good? Okay, cool. So it's kind of hard to start. I've been having lots of synchronicities around revelations about what's going on in my personal life and my history. Specifically, a buffer for a minute is all. Should I change? Is it watchable, or maybe I should just go? Here's Sammy right here, a little sniffer. No, all good. Okay. It's hard to know like where to. It's hard to know where to start. So I've been watching here and there this guy, Dan White. He talks about the physics of being able to see outside your body, buffering and choppy. Okay, hold on a second, guys. I am going to do a transportation. Okay, we are going to take a trip to my car. Please, don't mind the whiteout for a minute. guys still there? Okay. Wait. Hopefully it's better out here. Thank you, thank you. Cool. Does it seem like it's a better connection now? Hopefully. Okay, just one more second. I have to lock my door. Okay. Thanks for holding on with me. Okay. Whew. So how's everybody doing? Whew. Like, have some light shining on my mouth. Oh. Sorry about this one. Yeah, so what a crazy life, right, guys? I hope everybody's taking time that they have, if they have extra time, to be doing reflections about their origins and where you come from. I find that spiritual awakened people don't really focus enough on their personal narrative, and actually I've heard the opposite message from, you know, spiritual leaders on YouTube, if you will, that you aren't your personal narrative, or like you're not defined by your story. And I honestly think that it's the opposite, that you are defined by your story. And that's why we're here, is the ultimate experience. Where, I don't know, like if you notice on YouTube, there seems to be themes of like motifs of topics, where a lot of channels, and I don't know if it's a synchronicity or, you know, one person inspires the next, but it's almost odd in a way, because, you know, the videos take time to create and they almost all of a sudden happen at once in one kind of topic. Well, I just had a brain fart. Holly from can you guys still hear me? Please somebody type something, because I don't want to be going on and on by myself. Are we good? All good. Okay, cool. Holly Zilliger from Zuon Politicon just commented that on the 9th, March 9th, she felt a disruption in the force. And she thinks it has to do with the CERN hydrogen colliders, synchrotron type stuff. But I definitely felt it too, and it's like I already was commenting on it before she did her live stream, which was yesterday. But there's like this heavy magnetic deja vu type feeling that I had all day on the 9th, that where I was having like synchronicity after synchronicity, especially in the content of YouTube. Like there was a guidance of even, I don't know if it's AI directed or it's probably like my subconscious directed, but like the YouTube on autoplay, the next video that would play, it was not even something that I chose. It was just the auto. It would be on a subject that just totally had all these synchronicities about what I was currently trying to figure out. But what I wanted to get to the meat of what I'm talking about is that I see like some spiritually awakened people avoiding their stories. Oh, recently I've had this synchronicity of topics of everybody talking about how we're books, how the soul is a book, and that we're trees, and trees are the books are made out of trees, but and that goes into the knowing that I have, that is that we're here for experience and to write this ultimate story. Now there is other beings that use our stories, that use our books like a library, and they keep us confined in this collection of books, right? And they come in and they check out a book. And this has to do with the Akashic Record, this has to do with the DNA library, but it also has to do kind of with like almost like watching a movie. Like you can watch a movie and almost live a life through that person, that actor's portrayal. They can, the movie can be a lifetime from birth to death. And by watching it, you vicariously experience that life experience that was conveyed to you. At least subconsciously, apparently, our brains feel like it's real, right? So it's funny because there's this focus on our origins, like the mud floods or Tartaria or Mother Goddess, Anunnaki, that kind of stuff. But I find so much richness and so many synchronicities, just odd fairy tale, like in my own life experience, in my own story, in my own genetic line, that is just even more mind-blowing than any kind of mud flood Tartaria nugget of information. And I know some people, I know some spiritually awakened souls that are avoiding finding out their origins. Like, how much do you know about your conception? Like, these are really deep questions that I feel like a lot of souls are avoiding and are in denial about that, because it is icky and it can be uncomfortable, because there's almost like a value system that can be put on it, and an uncomfortable truth that you have to ask yourself and discover about yourself, that maybe you aren't as natural and as godlike creation as you thought you were, right? Like, do you have a mommy and daddy? Do you have a mommy? Do you have a daddy? A lot of people don't have a daddy that they know. If you don't have a daddy that you know, have you tried to find who that daddy is? Have you tried to find out who that man is that created you, that contributed 50% of your genetic code? If not, why? You know, some people are adopted and they don't, they know, you know, that they're adopted, but they have no reason, no drive to find out who their mother is, like whose womb they were grown in. Like, that makes such an impact about who you are and your soul. And even just finding out the names of people are to say so much. I know people that, and it's like some of these people, they can be obsessed about subjects like mud floods or mother goddess. You know, do you really know what mother is? How can you worship mother goddess if you don't even worship your own mother? You don't even investigate what a mother means? How can you then stand to worship mother goddess? And these are deep investigations of your code that are necessary, I think, to the purpose of being here, whether that is getting out, whether that is ascension, or I don't know, breaking the matrix. I also know souls that know that they were conceived via in-vitro fertilization. They know that they were created in a petri dish. And they find, you know, and there's so many levels of in vitro too, right? There's, you know, the in vitro fertilization where it's both your mother and father's genetic components. There's in vitro fertilization where mom uses a sperm donor. There's no relationship between the mom and the dad. There's in vitro where there's a couple that cannot conceive themselves, so they order an egg from a woman, and they use dad's sperm, and then they put it in the other mother, you know, the husband and wife. They put it in the wife, and she carries the baby to term. That is often pretty frequent, that the mother uses another egg but grows the baby in her own womb and gives birth. Then there's where they can use another guy's sperm and another egg and then put it in the mother. Or there's a surrogacy. There's that too, where it's the whole pregnancy is in another person. There's so many levels of creation, man-made, that can result in a human. And what is the difference in soul there? Is there a difference? Is there a difference between a baby that was conceived in ecstasy an orgasm, where mom and dad had an orgasm at conception? Is there a difference between that soul that entered the world and one where an egg was under a microscope and a doctor stuck a needle into the egg and chose which sperm to inject into the egg, and then that egg was shrouded with chemicals and then injected into another woman's womb? Is that soul different than one where 2 orgasms were, or even 1 orgasm was used to create? I don't know. It does seem like there would be a difference. I do know that babies that are made via in vitro are less healthy than babies that are conceived naturally, because there's an element of forcing. You're forcing something that is supposed to happen, we think, naturally. I mean, what science and medicine overlooks is the whole spiritual aspect. And I was watching one of the synchronicities recently that I had was watching this man, Dan White, where he actually brings in the physics to spirituality in that of a plasma tornado, and explains the way that we can have vision outside of our body, and dreaming is that we consciously create a plasma vortex. I don't know if it's through our eyes or through our heart, but it's like it's a spiral, it's a swirling tornado of plasma, and that's how we are able to project our consciousness out of our bodies when we dream. Sometimes it's far, sometimes, you hover upside your body, that kind of thing. But it's the spin that is the importance. It's the spin. And that also brings into another synchronicity that I had from, oh no, did I forget my notes? From, I believe his channel is Juice from the Sky. He's British, I think. He's British. Sorry if I'm ignoring the chat, because I'm having a hard time staying on focused on my thought stream. But he was talking about quantum drilling, and when you, like the Stargate, like think of the movie Stargate, it's that plasma vortex that spins out when they start pushing their finger through the Stargate. A spin of plasma is created, and that is the same plasma vortex that is created when a baby is birthed out of the womb, a baby through vaginally. The baby is pushed because the uterus contracts in a wringing out in a spiral, where it goes from the top down in a twisting motion. So the baby's wrung out of the vagina in a spinning motion, and that creates like a plasma vortex spin that is carried throughout the life of the soul. And you have to ask yourself, if you were born via C-section, cesarean section, what difference did that make on your soul and your journey? What a difference it is to be forcibly extricated via violent means a forced hatching through C-section versus a natural spin out of your mother's womb. So I think that creates a lot of different types of people and a lot of different types of souls here. It sets a vibratory tone, like a ripple effect, like, the butterfly flaps its wings and then an avalanche happens 10 years later or whatever. It's a plasma wave. So this man Dan White talks about this and how the orgasm at conception is part of this force that is essential for, I don't know, I mean, I don't want to talk like there's a hierarchy, but when it comes down to it, you start asking these questions. We are a lot more closer to clones than you think. And if you're avoiding these issues about your own personal history and focusing on the sky, changes in the clouds, or, Mother Goddess, or mud floods, or pick your topic, if you're not addressing these key issues about your creation, then I think your journey is everybody's on their own path, and I definitely feel like there was time in my life where I wanted to avoid finding out or being connected to my people that are genetically related to me. But there's a reason for that avoidance, and it essentially it is a self-denial about who you are in essence, right? What is also something on the tip of my tongue? Oh yeah. And then there's also some awakened souls that, and this is really touchy, but there's some souls that are very caught up about, do you know how many pregnancies your mother had? There's some awakened souls that know that their mother had a lot of abortions, and they resent their mother because they wish that they had those siblings around. These are tough topics, and it has to do with genetics. It has to do with feeling that connection, that plasma thread of your DNA being connected to things. And you have to acknowledge it. And that's what ultimately drove me to do Blood Over Intent, was because I could actually feel clones of myself and things being done to my clones. And I did not consent to that. And if you think about it, how many medical procedures have you had? How many weird occurrences have happened when you were at the dentist, at the doctor? Maybe you had some weird surgeries, and the doctor said, oh, I've never seen that before, or, oh, this never happens. Oh, you had a really bad reaction, or, oh, you had a little bit of a hard time this time, or, you're a little more difficult than the other cases. If you think back, there might be more of those occurrences than not in your life. And why? why did you get those medical procedures? Why did you sign up for that blood test? Why did you sign up for that CAT scan? Was there something telling you to do that? Is there a voice in your head? Was there somebody in your ear telling you that you need to be tested and scanned, monitored? My own mother is having these gigantic revelations. Like, I have so many personal Mandela effects. It's insane. And she's an only child and always knew that there was something up with that. And there was something weird going on. She thought maybe growing up she was maybe adopted. I think in the 90s her mother was kind of aloof. She found out that later on that when my mother was born, my grandmother went to a mental institution for like a year, and my mother was raised by some like neighbor lady or something. And my grandmother hated men. And she would say these really horrible, like, you know, if somebody complained about a man, or like she was watching Maury Povich, she'd be like, oh, I hope they chop his dick off with an axe and throw it in the garbage. Like, she'd be really violent, where it was like, wow, something really bad must have happened to her. But she was also mentally not, she was like maybe the age of like a 5-year-old. Like, she wasn't very, it wasn't like she had like deep thoughts or anything. But she, you know, she was functional, and but so like in the 90s, I think my mom did a blood test to see if her mother was her mother, and it was her mother. And she was usually like closer with her father growing up, and they've both since passed. But the weird thing is that my grandmother and grandfather were married for 17 years before they got pregnant with my mother. They were both in their 40s when they got pregnant. They had tried and tried and tried for 17 years to have a baby. And then all of a sudden they get in the 1950s, mid-1950s, they get pregnant with my mom. Kind of weird. So my mom had donated her blood to Ancestry.com and found that she got some hits of some half siblings that she never knew existed. Then to find out that her dad actually wasn't her dad, that it was this other man. So then she goes into she's in this whole investigative thing to find out what the heck happened. That was there an affair? Was my grandmother raped? And I'm like, Mom, we're part of some genetic program. They probably went to a doctor because they couldn't conceive, and the doctor injected his own sperm or somebody else's sperm or whatever. So she did, the person who was her genetic father was like a kind of an actor on movie sets, and like built movie sets or something, because this was all in Hollywood. Basically, this is all, she was born in Hollywood. So, and the other thing is that the OBGYN that delivered my mother sent her these elaborate birthday cards with like pop-ups and like handmade birthday cards until she was like 10 years old. And through my synchronicities with the channel Girl Town, she's basically finding out that the English crown, the royal family, the British Empire keeps these royal fishes, and they're people, and it's like a way of genetically controlling their adversaries. Probably the line, the Rose line of Jesus, I think, or maybe the line of Anne Boleyn, who but I keep on, like, what I want to say, like, leaves my mind, and I know that's a purposeful occurrence, but basically we're classified as shipwrecks so that they can go and do salvage missions and collect samples and assets of your body parts, and take away your ovaries and take away your blood and sperm, as they classify you as a shipwreck. But so yeah, I know I was kind of all over the place. Can I see the chat? Oh, wait. Yeah. Find your twin site. I want 3 of yeah. I have multiple visions. Yeah. So what I think is that my mom is slowly discovering that she was an in vitro fertilization baby, because the doctors actually have legal rights to the baby because they're the ones doing the insemination, at least historically. And this obviously would be like occult practices underground, because in vitro fertilization was not accepted in out science. There was like failed experiments in the 70s, but it really didn't get successful until the late 80s and 90s. But the fact that my grandparents couldn't conceive for almost 20 years, and and then my mother was also delivered via cesarean section, because she saw the scar on my grandmother. It's all just so strange, and just makes me think more that we're clones, and the beings that, the watchers, the beings that are checking us out in the library, our experiences as our books, our stories. I keep on losing my thought. Oh, yikes. I lost my thought. It's like getting sucked out of my head as I talk. Yeah. So I've been also having lots of the watchers, they get a kick out of, this is the greatest, this is their kind of ultimate, like, yes, we did it, is when they get 2 of their artificial creatures, 2 clones, 2 beings that were made in petri dishes, to fall in love and to conceive a naturally born human in ecstasy. To get 2 clones to take to get two beast creatures, man-made creatures, to create a God creature. They think that is like the greatest accomplishment. And I think that might be what I am, is the product of two clones. So, yeah. But the ecstasy and the orgasm create that plasma tornado, that vortex of energy that is like a lightning bolt that's infused, like the spark of life, into that embryo. And if that's happening in a petri dish, where is that coming from? You know? And if that's you, what does that mean about you? If that's my mom, what does that mean about me? If that's my mom and my dad, what does that mean about me? You know, a big thing right now is the twinning and the twins. You know, you kind of always think that you're the control, right? You're the origin, you're the source code. Maybe we're the clones and the other world is the natural one. Maybe we're the copy. Maybe we're the ones that are getting harvested. I don't know about you, but I've had surgeries where body parts were removed and cut out of me for purposes that weren't really necessary. And every procedure I've had, they've told me, wow, this has never happened before. Wow, we've never seen that before. You know, that was a difficult one. You know, you have a stronger reaction than other people. I also wanted to talk about some prophetic dreams that I've had recently. One was of my brother, and I don't ever really dream of my brother. He's dead. If you follow me at all, my brother died. He had muscular dystrophy, Duchenne's muscular dystrophy, but a very, you know, the Jerry Lewis telethon. We obviously had genetic testing. No scrutiny, just, oh yay, thanks for the description. Am I still on? Okay. And we had genetic testing done to see if I had the carrier, if I carried the code. And it turns out he didn't have the natural genetic error that other children with Duchenne's muscular dystrophy had. He had a redundancy duplication error, which means part of the code was duplicated, which meant that it was it wasn't a something that's passed through people. It just happened in that one egg that was fertilized, which is like, come on. But which made him live to 27. He died at 27 years old as the ball dropped on 2012. On New Year's Eve, I was watching the ball drop, you know, Dick Clark, and I went to go check on him because he came home on hospice for his gallbladder. And I went to go check on him, and he had died. And it was right as it was turning, it was the end of 2012, turning 2013. So my dream, so I never really dream about him, but in my dream, I was in my mother's old house, and there was this little girl that I don't even know, was leading me to bed, and I was going to tuck her in, and I had some incense oil that I use. When I burn incense, I put the oil on my skin, and I had the oil, and the little girl's guiding me to her bed, and I'm about to tuck her in, and I look over and there's another bed there, and it's a hospital bed, and I know it's my brother, but they're all wrapped like a mummy, and there's like a white sheet over this person who I knew was my brother, and the only thing was a tube coming out of the mouth, but it was coming out of the sheet. And so it's just like a white sheeted mummy with a tube coming out of its mouth. And I knew it was my brother. And I was very calm in my dream. I was just like, and I knew it was my brother. And I go over and I put the oil on his forehead and a cross over him. And I knew he was in the cloning centers. I knew he was there in the cloning center. And I was kind of okay with it. And then I went to go tuck in the girl, and I put the oil on her head, and I tucked her in. And then I woke up, and I was I was upset because I don't really ever dream of my brother, and I was a little upset about his appearance in my dream, and that the fact that I knew he was in the cloning center. And so I was recalling the dream, and I was crying. And then I turn on my phone, and the first headline news story is that Daft Punk broke up. And Daft Punk was my brother's favorite band. And like it was his only band that he listened to. Like when his birthday came up, I knew I would get him a Daft Punk CD. Like I always got him a Daft Punk CD because that was the only thing I knew that he would like. Because he really liked Daft Punk. And it's like Daft Punk has not been in the news. They're not even really popular anymore. It's not like they died. But it was like the headline story. And it was the first thing that pops up. And like all the stories on YouTube and the news is Daft Punk splits up. Like who cares? But I knew it was from my brother. It was just the weirdest thing. A message from him. And I guess the message was just that the confirmation of the existence of the cloning centers. And that we're severely being used through our DNA. Another dream that I had after this dream, I mean, you can go back and find out the day Daft Punk split up. That was the night before I had the dream about my brother. But then since then, I had this other dream where, so I don't practice right now, but I'm a medically licensed clinician. I'm a physician assistant here in California, but I'm not practicing. I can do everything a doctor can do. I can write prescriptions. I can do surgery. I have a license to practice medicine, what have you. I have yeah. So, part of that, when I'm really active, when I have been active in my career, is going to these medical conventions, like a big business convention where you fly somewhere like Vegas, and they have the big convention halls, San Francisco, and you stay in a hotel, and every day you go to these big convention centers and go to lectures and meetings, and there's hustle and bustle, and everybody's wearing these like big lanyard ID tags, and you're dressed up professional, so you got your suit jacket on, women have their heels and makeup and like that. So my dream, and I haven't gone to one of those in 3, 4 years, 5 years. So in my dream, I had my long blonde hair, I had heels because I was tall, and I was in one of these convention centers, and there was all this hustle bustle, and it was bright, like white light. There was like big windows and light shining through, and it was lunchtime, and it was kind of like all these people were filtering in to sit down to eat lunch in this convention center, and it was a medical convention because everybody was wearing these lanyards. And so I'm kind of walking through the tables, kind of scooching in between seats, like people's chairs, to find my seat. And there's like a hum of people like talking, like, people like messing with their plates and stuff. And I look over to the side, and off to the side, kind of where there is no tables, there's all of these Asian businessmen, Chinese businessmen, and they're all going and like going like this and like pointing and kind of like talking and looking at me. And I have this revelation that they're bidding on me, that they're all looking at me and taking bids on me, like to buy me. So it like makes me kind of emotional. So, I mean, I think a lot of these dreams, I don't know if I'm being, I feel like there's this guy, Cardo, who grew up with Og Tellez that I watch, and he basically describes that the other guy who was a secret soldier, is it Mark something, or super soldier, is that when we go to sleep or run in, our consciousness is uploaded and run into clone bodies. And a lot of times, like, we think it's a dream, but the clone is not able, there's like lower level clones that can't sustain a soul for very long. They don't stay animated for, Max Spires, thank you. They can't sustain a soul for very long. So when you go to sleep, the like super soldiers or whatever are uploaded into these throwaway clones, and they like drug the clone so that when you're in its body, you feel like you're dreaming. And they like run the clone in like gladiator type arena, and like there's actual monsters that they feed you to. And then when you die, you just wake up in your body, or you get raped, or all kinds of different things that they do to you while you're in an actual human body that's like a clone. And then you wake up and you just think you had a night terror, or that you just had a horrible dream. So I think that happens to me a lot. Another recent dream I had, it was like I was hovering over people that were taught. It was like another type of, it was like these like watcher people, and one of the people was coming to buy the humans, and the guy was talking, like selling the humans to this person, and I was like hovering and watching it happen like a movie. And the guy was like, yeah, we call him Citrus, and he's like, yeah, because we can juice them, there are oranges. And it's just weird because I get these descriptions in my dreams that I don't necessarily know in my conscious mind. So yeah, you get dreams like that, dreams from programs. Yeah, I always thought that you were in Australia. Yeah. My stepdad died in 2000. He had a rare muscular dystrophy. Yeah, the muscular dystrophy, I think, is how they, the genetic male code is called. Probably through certain injections when we're young. Excuse me. It used to be that men were sent off to war. Now, I think the genetic males that they want to suppress are given certain diseases. I think more recently it's autism. I don't really know if as many children have muscular dystrophy today as they did back when my brother did. It's kind of funny if you look. It seems like diseases come in trends, and you can ask yourself, why is that? Like, because there are certain muscular dystrophies that they can test for in the womb, but not many. I do know that they told my mother that the muscular dystrophy was carried on the X chromosome, so she was almost kind of blamed as a, as having bad genetics. It was her bad eggs that made the muscular dystrophy, and that's why I needed to be tested to see if I was a carrier and I was going to have babies with muscular dystrophy. But it came out that my brother didn't actually have the normal type of muscular dystrophy. He had a spontaneous, random duplication in the code that made the protein a little bit wonky. And that meant my mom didn't even have, that she wasn't a carrier, and that she would have had natural, that if she wanted to have more babies, her babies wouldn't have had muscular dystrophy. But she was told, you can never have any more kids, and if you have a son, you probably will have muscular dystrophy again. So I grew up with that fear, knowing that I need to always be tested. If I ever want a child, we have to be super monitored because he might have muscular dystrophy, and that's not the case. Orange is the twilight color. Orange equals 33. Yeah. So, so I guess that's it. My topics are pretty controversial, but basically what I wanted to get across is if you're avoiding certain things about your own personal genetic history, you might want to ask yourself why. And also investigate the types of medical procedures you've had and what you were told why you needed those medical procedures, and if possibly there was an ulterior motive of a collection of material that has been collected from you. I suggest watching Girl Town's recent videos about the shipwreck, Mary Rose. It has to do with maritime law and kind of expounds on the ideas that have been brought forth by Quasi-Luminous. Because I think if you do some more investigation, you might find that you might be closer to a clone than you think. Anyways, I'm going to stop now, and thanks for watching. Please subscribe and share, like. Thank you.